Hey, y'all, listen, what's today? Friday. Happy Friday, y'all. Happy Friday. Welcome into the building. Listen, it's trending topics. I wasn't on last night. I had something to do, but I'm here tonight, y'all. So welcome in the building. Happy Friday, and I hope y'all had a really good week. Y'all know the routine. As y'all come in the building, y'all need to hit the like button, okay? That's your ticket on this train ride. Hit the like button, people. Hit the like button. But listen, tonight's title for trending topics is real simple, real easy. It's called choices. You know, in life, we have decisions to make. And the decisions we make, they can impact us in a positive or a negative way. And we have to live with our decisions and our choices. Diddy made decisions throughout his life. And those decisions and those choices led him up to where he currently is today, the Metropolitan Detention Center out there in Brooklyn, awaiting his May 5th trial. Now, the last time he was in court, they told us Diddy was starving himself. He wasn't eating. He was afraid somebody was going to poison him. So they said he was looking kind of thinner than he normally looked, or how he looked when they first put him in there in September. But now here it is, just 3 months later in March. Now they saying puffy. Diddy is looking puffy. They said he a little thicker. He grayer. Because I guess he can't, get the people over there to dye his hair out there in the Metropolitan Detention Center. I guess it is what it is. But I guess now he got over it, thinking people was going to try to poison him, and he's eating the food now. Because they say he's looking a little thick. He's there, and he didn't have his whole family entourage there, just Mama Combs. Mama Combs gonna show up in the building, and so is his twin. I call Christian Combs, King Combs, Christian King Combs, his twin. So Mama Combs was there, Christian was there, Chance was there. The twins were not. Neither was Justin, neither was Quincy. So they're kind of dwindling down who's showing up in court. Now, these kids got lives. I don't know. This court, I don't know how many days this trial is going to take in May, but it's going to be interesting to see if they are going to attend every single day in May of his court case. We never know what we would say or what we would do if we're in a said situation. But maybe I would say to my kids, you don't have to show up. I don't know. Mama Combs could show up. Let the kids stay home, even though they're adults. And then y'all come for the opening and y'all come for the closing. I don't know if I would necessarily want them there every day, because I think in that trial, a lot is going to be heard. Now, I don't know what these kids do know and don't know, but I think a lot is going to be heard in this trial. And I don't know. It's just, I don't know. It's just a lot. But these are the choices he made. So this is where he's at. Now the kids are coming through and they're supporting him. We're going to talk about it. Then we're going to talk about Jonathan Majors. Now listen, who we date matters. If you dating somebody and there's a red flag, why would you go past the yield sign? If you go past the yield sign, then you bump up against the stop sign. Don't go past the stop sign. But a lot of us, we get into these situations, we get into with these men, we lay down with them, we have their baby, and then we want to cry, woe is me. Jonathan Majors, he found himself with a Grace Jabari, and it changed the whole trajectory of his life. It snatched away everything from him. He was on his way up. On his way up. He was the king of marble. He's about to do a whole series just on him. And just like that, the blink of an eye, Grace accuses him of something and boom, he got to start from the bottom. Well, his movie is coming out, Magazine Dreams. He's doing tour to talk about it. It's going to be on Apple TV. And then he comes out because he said through therapy, he started to talk through how he has been abused since a child by males and females. We got to watch who we have around our kids. Got to watch who we have around our kids because it will impact them maybe in their adulthood. But we're going to talk about Jonathan Majors talking. Now he's working things out through therapy and how him and Megan Good, they are in love. We're going to have a conversation about it. And then our last story is Joy Reid. You know, they let Joy Reid go over there at MSNBC. She was there decades. She worked through her blood, sweat, and tears. And let me tell you something. I get it. I honestly get it. When you felt like you gave your all to a job, your all to a relationship, your all to something. And then all of a sudden, you wake up and it's all over. I say be grateful for the time that you had. Be grateful for the 10 years, the 5 years, the 2, whatever it was, be grateful for it. They saying Joy wants to go out in a blaze and she wants to expose where all the dead bodies are and tell all the business over there at MSNBC. I would say before she start running her mouth, maybe she should call Nene Leakes and have a talk with her. Nene Leakes dropped bombs when she left Bravo, whether you want to call it left, fired, whatever. She dropped bombs. Start to call the people racist. Said all kind of things. Called the network racist. Called Andy racist. I mean, she dropped bombs. And Nene didn't work for years. Bombs. So you may be saying, Diva, what are you saying? Our choices matter. That's what I'm saying. Tonight's title is called Choices. Our choices matter. And some things is better left unsaid. Some things is better left unsaid. It really, really is. I would just say, let it go. Move forward. Think about what your next steps are going to be. And I'm sorry, y'all hit the wrong button. I know you hurt, but this too shall pass. I would not be telling where the dead bodies are. I would not be just complaining. I would just let it go, move on, pray to God, and figure out my next steps. Now, y'all know what I need in the chat? I need a what? I need a choo-choo. All aboard, everybody. It is Friday night trending topics, and we got stuff to talk about. The title is called Choices. Diddy's in court. They said he's looking gray. He's looking bigger. He's looking sadder. He's coming closer to the time period in which he's going to have his trial. He had to go to court so he could plead guilty. Okay, and I'm sorry, I'm saying plead guilty. Oh my God, that was a faux pas. Plead not guilty, okay, to the new indictment charges, and the new charges are called what is it? Forced labor. Now listen, I don't know what Diddy did or didn't do when it came to violating these different individuals that are accusing him. But when it comes to this forced labor working for free, I'm going to just put it like this. A lot of these celebrities, for whatever reason, they feel like they ain't got to pay nobody. Not just Diddy. A lot of them feel like you should be happy you working for said celebrity, and they think you're going to work for free. Well, you ain't going to catch Diva. I'm not working for free. If I want to work for free, I'll go do volunteer work somewhere. But no, I'm not going to be your chef, your housekeeper, your babysitter. I'm not doing none of that for free. No, ma'am. No, sir. Jonathan Majors and Joy Reid. Let me bring the people in the building. Hey, in my opinion. Hey, Denzel.
Hey, Diva, choo-choo.
Good evening.
Hey, Wayne. Hey, Julius. Hey, Tay Tay.
Hey
Hey,
y'all, hit the
Alicia.
like button.
Hit the like button, people. You know, this first story I'm going to go in tonight, and everybody, please stay on track and connected to the story at hand. You know, I'm going to go with this Diddy story first. Diddy has 7 children. The youngest is Baby Love, and I think Baby Love is now 2. You know, today when he appeared in court, he had to appear in court so he can plead his not guilty to the new indictment charges that they put on him, and is forced labor. And they're saying, you know, Diddy was looking different. Jail, I guess, is getting to him. He's looking grayer. They said he's looking bigger, so maybe he's not on a hunger strike anymore. Maybe he realized that nobody's going to try to take his life through the food out there, so he started to eat. I don't know. But let's take a listen, you know, so we can hear about the latest court date. Where am I? Let me make sure I pull up the right thing here. Okay. Let's take a listen.
Coverage of a live Diddy hearing in downtown New York in the federal courthouse. It wrapped up a little bit earlier on, but that's okay. In case you missed it, we have with us Long Prime's very own Elizabeth Milner, who was in that courtroom. And Elizabeth, it's so good to see you. I have so many questions for you. I want to take one at a time. First of all, how did Sean Diddy Combs appear? And was there anybody there in attendance for him?
Honestly, Jesse, I feel like Diddy's appearance was probably the biggest story that happened inside that hearing. There was kind of an astonishing whoa when he walked inside that courtroom because he appeared noticeably grayer. I would even kind of equate it a little bit to Santa Claus, but he just appeared grayer. His hair was a lot whiter. Now, remember, the last time I was inside one of Diddy's hearings, that was back in December. We're in March. So that's just a 3-month time span of just that intense grayness. So either him being at MDC Brooklyn for this amount of time is weighing on him, this federal case is weighing on him, maybe even his fall from grace entirely is probably weighing on him, but he just looked visibly different. I will say, though, last time he appeared thinner. This time it seems like he did kind of pack on a little bit of pounds, and I don't say that in a disrespectful way at all, but he did seem to kind of put his weight back up from the last time that I saw him. But it really was just kind of a stark difference. Now, he was graying a little bit in the last hearing, that is no doubt, so it wasn't too big of a jump. But again, a lot of us who were sitting in the gallery, a lot of the reporters were just kind of like, whoa, because of just how astonishingly grayer he appeared during that time. Now, as far as who was inside that courtroom, it was, as far as his family goes, a lot smaller of a group than we've seen before. We've seen times where all of his kids, maybe with the exception of his now 2-year-old daughter, being inside that courtroom, putting up a united front. But again, this was kind of a smaller group this time. It was only Diddy's daughter, Jessie Combs, and it was Diddy's son, Christian Combs, also known as King, as well as Diddy's mother, Janice Combs. So, of course, when Diddy comes into the courtroom, that's the first thing he's looking out for, is that he's going to be looking out for his family. He's going to be waving to them, you know, kind of mouthing "I love you" and all of that sort. And that's what happened as well as when he was leaving too. I even saw him kind of mouth "Hi, mommy" to his own mother. But, you know, his son Quincy wasn't there. His son Justin wasn't there. The twins weren't there. And of course, his youngest daughter, just 2 years old probably at this time, Love, wasn't there. So really, it was just a smaller group of supporters this time. And it might have just been scheduling. It might have just been the fact that this wasn't going to be a big hearing necessarily. But also, we didn't know what we could really expect from it. But, you know, it was just kind of different as far as what we've seen before, where they take up an entire row in the gallery, to just being in a small little corner there. But it appeared that Diddy was just happy to see him, happy to see his family, happy to have support in there in the courtroom. And as far as even just at the defense table too, another noticeable difference that I thought to myself was just the fact that Anthony Rico was no longer there. Again, he filed a letter kind of saying that he can't be on the case anymore, and that was just a few weeks ago. And so that to me was kind of a stark difference from last hearing to this hearing.
The defense attorneys basically said there's no way I can continue. Not entirely sure what that even meant. By the way, it was interesting when you mentioned his appearance. It could be the stress. It could also be, and I have no way to confirm this, he doesn't have access to the same kind of beauty regimen as he might have had on the outside, and whether that meant dyeing his hair or whatnot. I mean, he's not the youngest guy, so it's something I thought about. Okay, so I want to now get into the substance of this hearing. A big part of this hearing was regarding the CNN tape. The tape of Sean Combs purportedly beating Cassandra Ventura, who by all accounts appears to be one of the key victims in this case, victim number one, to be more specific in this case, that there was this allegation regarding what CNN did to this tape, and there was back and forth. Remember, this was published in March of last year. No, it was May of last year. So talk to us about what the back and forth was regarding this tape, because I have to imagine it could be a key piece of evidence in this prosecution.
And like you had mentioned, Jesse, a key piece of evidence, and that's what the government was trying to argue there, that it is critical to their case to have this video admitted. Now, I will preface it and say this, the judge made no type of ruling on it, but he did kind of make a big suggestion. So before I get into that, let me just say the defense argues, and they kind of outlined this in their letter, that they believe that the video is deceptive. They have a forensic examiner who says that they put the video into editing software, and that CNN put the video into editing software, excuse me, but that the times were changed, the sequence was changed, they covered up the timestamp. But let's face it, Jesse, we all saw that video. Whether or not CNN did allegedly speed up this video, or whether or not that they kind of framed different pieces and different sequences, it never takes your eyes kind of away from the fact, or that we saw with our own eyes, Diddy gruesomely beating up Cassie Ventura. It was terrible. It was really shocking. And, we say it's shocking a lot, but I mean, I just remember watching that video because it did play on a loop on CNN that day. And it was just terrible to watch. And we all saw Diddy kind of make that apology video afterwards. So for them to kind of have this argument about the CNN video in the first place, about it being altered, all of that sort, well, their client already admitted to doing what he did. But again, we still have to kind of put out allegedly here and there. But as far as the government wants, they want that video admitted into evidence. They want to use that video because they do believe it is critical to their case. Whereas the defense, it seems like they're kind of gearing up to put a motion in place to kind of suppress that video from a jury ever seeing it. But you kind of can't help but think, did a juror already see it? Did a potential juror already see it? So this was the judge's recommendation. They wanted to see if there was a way, maybe the defense and the government, who they kind of seem that they are working things out kind of outside of the hearings, outside of the court, but they were seeing if there was a way for the defense to kind of place together the video and the way that they believe originally happened, and see what the government says about that. Now, if they can't come to a decision from both sides, then that's when the judge will step in, then that's when the motions will be filed, and then that'll be taken up at another hearing. But it seems from the government side of everything that this piece of evidence is going to be critical to their case. I mean, even taking a step back to just last year, a lot of people did not believe Diddy's alleged victims, whether it be in the lawsuits or anything like that, until that video came out, until they saw with their own eyes just Diddy putting his hands on Cassie Ventura. And again, this was back in 2016. But just even thinking from her standpoint, seeing that video on a loop, knowing that it's been released to the public, yes, justice there in the sense that people now believe her or may believe her. But at the same time, when we saw that video, just shocking, just astonishing. But it seems like this will be a matter that'll be taken up at another time. No ruling was made today as far as whether or not it'll be admitted into evidence in trial, but the government made it clear they want this piece of evidence in that trial.
And it's interesting because, the defense, they can't deny what the video is, but they seem to be denying the context in the sense that this might have been a domestic spat, but it's not necessarily evidence of sex trafficking. And as I mentioned before, the prosecution would come back and counter that and say, well, where was she running away from? She was running away from a room where there might have been a sex worker in that room. And this is further allegation of an illegal sex act or freak-offs or things of that nature. Now, I want to move on to something else. The names of people in this case. Another big theme that came out during the course of this hearing is regarding identities and names. And you and I both know, Elizabeth, this is something that has been litigated between the prosecution and the defense quite a lot leading up to this hearing. And there is terms about enterprise letters, about the prosecution putting in sealed letters about more specific examples of what is racketeering, what are the dates, what are the names, what are the places. The idea of names of people in this case, are they referring to witnesses? Are they referring to alleged victims? What happened today regarding the identities of people in this case and whether or not the defense will know who the prosecution plans to call?
And this is also an interesting part in the hearing, Jesse, as well, too, is that it seems like they were kind of talking, you know, in legalese in particular, but also because a lot of that information was sealed. And the defense kind of made it clear because at one point when the government was making their stance on it, Alexandra Shapiro stepped up and said, hey, judge, this is under seal. Obviously, she didn't say that verbatim, but she kind of made it clear to the judge that she was cautious about just kind of revealing everything about the particular enterprise letter. But one thing that the government said that stood out to me was just how fearful some of these potential witnesses are about having their names out in the public, about having their names released to the defense. And that should also kind of go to, you know, we talk often when we're covering Diddy's stories, just about the power that he had either over the industry, over his employees, over alleged victims that he had, former girlfriends, all of that stuff. But the government did make it clear because, you know, they couldn't get into much details about that particular part because some aspects of it, from my understanding, were under seal. But one thing the government did make clear is that some of these witnesses don't want their names released out into the public. So they are going to kind of come up with a solution. From my understanding, it's that the government will turn over that list over to the defense, but you can imagine how fearful some of Diddy's potential, or not potential employees, but how some of the people who had worked under Diddy, whether it be for years, whether it be for a few months, could be knowing that they could potentially testify more into what was going on, as the government puts it, in the Combs enterprise.
And then the final point I want to mention and get some clarification on are timelines. I'm still shocked that this trial is going to happen by May 5th, 2025. It's only a few months away. And the idea about pretrial conference, jury questionnaire, jury selection, a motion schedule, it seemed to me that the defense got a win today in what they wanted for a schedule. Talk to us about what we can expect, some key moments coming up leading up to May 5th.
Yeah, it looks like that final pretrial conference is set for kind of late April, before the jury questionnaire is set to go out. And essentially the defense, you know, they wanted 300 jurors a day. That's a lot of people, but it seems like they want everything to kind of move at a quick pace. But to your point, Jesse, it did seem like the defense did get a win, because one thing as well, too, is that the defense wants these jurors to be sequestered when they're doing the questionnaire. So they want to be able to speak to these jurors one-on-one. They don't want it in an open room or anything like that. And the judge approved that. So that's kind of a peek of what will be looking like, or what it'll be looking like come trial. So it looks like that it looks like jury selection is going to begin a little bit before May 5th. Now, we all thought May 5th was going to be the date that it started. We all thought potentially opening statements could be on May 5th, but it looks like it's being pushed back a week, just because they're anticipating so many jurors to kind of come through that courthouse, whether or not to be selected for the upcoming trial. But it just seems that the defense kind of did get a win in pushing everything back just a little bit. But again, this is a big, high-profile case. They want to make sure all their ducks are in a row. They want to make sure they're dotting their I's, crossing their T's. And so while we can expect opening statements to be pushed back just a little bit, just about a week or so, what we can expect from those jurors is for them to kind of, again, 300 people every day up until they select the men and women who are going to be a part of that jury, but again, going to be sequestered while each side kind of gets to ask them these particular questions, and they're going to be filling out that jury or juror questionnaire, something that the government didn't necessarily want, but it seems like that's going to be the idea moving forward.
I mean, that's the hope. They have an idea about how long jury selection is going to be. This is a very high-profile case. There has been so much already put out there. It's not about trying to find a jury that doesn't know Sean Combs or knows that he's been criminally indicted. It's the idea of trying to put that away and put that to the side and go in objectively. Maybe easier said than done. We shall see. Elizabeth Milner, thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for being our eyes and our ears about what we're happening in that courtroom. Thank you for going down there. Really appreciate it.
Ooh. So indictment added, They will be starting to pick a jury at the end of April. And, sometime in May, this trial is going down. They saying he's looking thicker, grayer. In my opinion, what are your thoughts?
Well, I wish him good luck because it's gonna be one for the books. I think Diddy is overconfident. I think his lawyers has pumped him up, and I hope he don't get too overconfident. Because just because y'all sequestering the jurors and he putting everything in place, don't mean it's gonna go the way they think it's gonna go.
Denzel, your thoughts?
Yeah, I really don't care about you know, Diddy, but I feel bad for, you know, the
David, can you hear me?
victims.
Go ahead, Denzel. I'm sorry about that.
Oh no, it's okay. Um, I feel bad for the victims. I feel bad for his children, and I feel bad for Cassie. And I don't know if it's true or not, but TMZ saying that allegedly CNN destroyed that video of Cassie and Diddy. I hope that's not true, but if it is, that's sketchy. And it, Diddy is done. He's done. And like I said, I pray for the victims, his children, and Cassie. I pray for them. I feel bad for them. That's it.
Thank you. Tay Tay?
I say game over for Didi because he gonna probably be in the prison forever. That's all, Diva.
Thank you. Julius, your thoughts?
Whew. Knew that he was gonna take that route, but okay. Let's see what the government has in their case.
Wayne, your thoughts?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay, because I can't hear anybody.
Oh.
I didn't hear just barely, but anyway, I think I
Hold
think
on,
he gonna
Wayne.
walk.
Go in and go out. When you get off, when you get through talking, go off and then come back up.
Okay,
Okay.
but Dee said she can hear me though. Um, I think he gonna walk because I think all you need is reasonable doubt.
Mm.
And if his witnesses' lives are as sketchy as his, them lawyers gonna come down on them. Parts of their lives will probably be bought out because you understand. So it it gives them, when the jurors are looking at Diddy and then they're looking at the witnesses whose lives are so sketchy as well, I can see where they can say, well, we don't believe it, or it's just not enough information and reasonable doubt. Because if it's reasonable doubt, he's out. Because as of now, the only real clear thing we didn't see was Cassie get beat up on the video. And that was years ago. All the other stuff is just people talking other than Cassie. So if I hope he got good witnesses that don't have sketchy backgrounds, because all that money he paying them lawyers, they trying to win. I'm done.
Felicia, your thoughts?
Hello. Good evening, everybody. I got a lot of thoughts, but I got to ask you a question. What was the superseding indictment? What was it?
It's forced labor.
Forced labor against who? Who was it? The chef?
Well, no, well, she said they don't want these names out because the people are afraid.
Yeah, okay. But they worked in the house for 2 years. You know what? So based on what we did, the research we did, we got the chef. She worked for him for 18 months. The nanny was there about 15 months. Little Rod was there for a year.
Who else was forced labor? There was a couple of people. Dawn. Yeah. She said she was working all night. They didn't feed her. She was strapped to a chair. They would wake her up, throw water in her face. So there was a lot of people. A lot of people. So I don't know what the charges are or what the time can be for forced labor, but I think this is sort of, we have to put some more substance into this meal, because this RICO piece has always been falling apart. And so they need to strengthen this case. They need to come in with these additional charges, because the RICO's not holding up. And it sounds to me, nor the sex trafficking. Okay. So there's two issues here. So then they say, well, it was, whoa, he looked like this and he looked like that. And in my mind, I think that's a good thing, because if he doesn't look like the photos that we've been getting every day, every hour, every week, if he looks like a overweight old man, a granddaddy, well, he may be viewed differently by alleged jurors. And getting to these jurors, now that's interesting. They're going to sequester potential jurors in a room with a questionnaire. Oh my God, how many questions are they going to ask you? They're going to ask a potential juror possibly more questions than they'll ask an alleged victim. They're going to ask you, what music did you listen to? Where you live? Have you ever been to a party? Did you do this? Did you take any dope? Did you ever get ex-trafficking? Oh my good Lord. But we know people like to be celebrity adjacent. They'll give up a whole lot. So they'll walk away from a good paying job or having something else to do to sit for a while to be part of this case. Good luck with that, folks. And the other thing is, Donnie J is still in the White House. He is still the president of the United States, and he loves giving out pardons to people who can pay. So Diddy being done. I'm going to go with Wayne on this one. We can have reasonable doubt. We can have a pardon. We can have all of the charges dismissed and dropped. I think we may be just looking at prostitution. And based on what we did in the research from before, prostitution could get you about 6 months to a year in jail. And Mr. Combs has been in there now for 7 months. So for all the people who are scared that their names would be released, here we go again. Don't let Tony Busby get a hold of that list. He'll put you out there in a hot second. I'm done.
Thank you. Aretha Dixon, I'm not quite sure how you're coming up with that. Nobody's taken up for a pedophile, as you're writing in there. And no, she's not no Diddy family member. Over here, we work with innocent until proven guilty. Over here, we pulled about 6 or 7. I just got tired of them, of those Diddy cases, and broke it down. So nobody's taking up for nobody. We're breaking it down as per the facts, as the way we see it. And like Wayne and Felicia said, all you need is reasonable doubt in a court of your law. Our feelings don't matter. When the Jay-Z case first came out, if you go back to all the videos on YouTube, they already had him up underneath the bus. And then time happened, and Jane Doe, at the very best, if you don't want to call her a liar, her story has been inconsistent. So no, let's not. We over here, we do things differently. So hear it out, and you can think what you think, but no, nobody's over here taking up for a pedophile. Let's stop. Katrina, your thoughts?
My thoughts is, where they gonna find a jury? Because everybody in the United States knows about Diddy. So where they gonna get these people from? And how they gonna have an objective mind knowing what they already saw? Because I'm quite sure everybody in the United States, I'm not saying, I'm just saying majority of the people of the United States have seen that video of Diddy and Cassie. And as you said, everybody is innocent until proven guilty. Everybody got to get their day in court if they're behind bars or going through a court case. And we can't condemn anybody. And no, I'm not a member of Diddy family. We just stating the facts. We can't put nobody in a grave before we give them their trial. We can't do that. We have to know what's going on, how it's going on. We can say Diddy did these things, other than we seeing the tape of Cassie. We haven't seen anything else. We just going by hearsay and what's on the streets. So, in court, everything will come out. If he's guilty, he'll be locked up. If he's not guilty, he'll walk. But as Felicia said, Trump is in office. He'll give him a pardon. He give everybody else pardons. So we'll see. And plus, he donated $10 million to Elon Musk when he bought space with X, whatever they call it now. Diddy gave Elon Musk $10 million. So they're friends. They know each other, and money helps money. And that's a sad situation on that too. But we'll see how it goes. That's all I got, Diva.
Thank you. The Don, you better talk to the people. He said they had an airtight case for OJ, and you see what happened. Let's talk about it. And that's all we're saying. You know, when you go to court, it's not about feelings. It's about what happens in that court. I don't know what ASAP Rocky did or didn't do, but I know right now he's free and he was found not guilty. So just because we don't like somebody, the case still has to go to court, and we have to see how it plays out. And if there's reasonable doubt, then it's reasonable doubt. That's the law. That ain't us making up nothing over here or trying to take up for somebody. So I appreciate y'all. I'm gonna go ahead and roll right into
if I may, I'd like to add on to that, and let's talk about that YSL case where the people said they were being tortured, beaten up. The gangs was destroying all of Atlanta. Please, the people is out there going around doing what they want to do, making their music. We have
on the streets. They on the streets right now. You ain't lying, Felicia. In the neighborhood was saying they was terrorizing the neighborhood. And they're on, all of them are on the streets right now.
All Diddy got to get is a Woody.
Child, and listen. and listen, and they come a dime a dozen, because if you go to a few of the Diddy accusers, what's the one that was the dancer? Raheem said, and they still terrorizing Atlanta. You better talk about it. What's the one? She came up here. We had that. What was her name? Maisha, a whole lie. And she did a 3-part series on somebody channel, or 2-part or whatever. She was a whole lie. There's another chick out there accusing Diddy. Found out she was a whole lie. You had the one that did the press conference with Gloria Allred, a whole lie. I get it. The people pissed at Diddy. He did something. He did this. But yeah, if you got reasonable doubt and a whole bunch of liars, then you're going to have trouble when that court case come in May. And there's a lot of people that their name is not famous, and they guilty, and they on the streets right now. Why? Reasonable doubt. That's all we're talking about here. Let me roll into this next story, okay? Jonathan Majors. So Jonathan Majors, he went through what he went through, and you saw with Jonathan Majors. Jonathan Majors, they got a whole video of blocks and blocks of him running from the chick, and he was found guilty. When it comes to the courts, you don't know how that thing's going to go. He put her back in the car, and he started the running. She chased them for blocks, and they still said this man was guilty. Now, if he was running after her, if it was reversed, he probably would be in jail for 35 years for running after her. But this man put her in the car, he gets the running, and they like, no, he guilty. Let me move on to the Jonathan Majors story, because Jonathan Majors saw, because he lost everything after that Grace Jabari case. Okay. He had to go to therapy, and you know what? The therapy seemed to help him because he broke down some things that happened in his childhood. Let me go ahead and share screen. So Jonathan Majors, he said, I was SA by men and women during my childhood. So Jonathan Majors got real about his past, revealing both men and women SA'd him as a child. The actor said he confronted his childhood trauma during therapy following a DV program, which he was required to undergo as part of his sentencing after the 2023 guilty verdict for assaulting his ex, Grace Jabari. Jonathan Majors told the Hollywood Reporter his essay began when he was just 9, 1 year after his dad left the family, explaining the abuse came from people who were supposed to look after you in the absence of a father. Jonathan admitted he was effed up by it all and only recently opened up to his mother about the abuse, who gave him an emotional apology for not being able to protect him. He told his mom it wasn't an issue anymore, but he felt she should know because it was part of their family story and was something that needed to be acknowledged so they could all grow and learn from it. Jonathan's making his way back into the spotlight after dodging jail time following his legal woes, and looks like he's ready for a fresh start by tackling a whole lot of emotional baggage. He has his movie coming out on Apple TV, which he is currently promoting, and it's called Magazine Dreams. It seems like it's going to be a really good movie. He is a good actor. I want to say this. This is, this abuse happens way too often in a lot of families, and it's brushed under the rug, but it destroys the individual who is violated. There's a story, and I was debating about doing it, and maybe I'll tackle it tomorrow night if I don't go out, where a young girl, 11, the mother's boyfriend was texting this young girl and texting her some SA things. That's the best way I could put it. And then he told her to delete said things. Thank God she told her father. It's just a mess. But this happens way too often and too much, and it does impact that individual, especially if they don't get counseling or help for it or work through it. This is a lot. In my opinion, your thoughts?
So I hate to invalidate his story. I hope this is true, because I see a lot of people come back and try to tell us something after something has happened to them. Like I said, I hope this is not that case. I do hope that he works through his issues and get it right. You are right. This is happening a lot. And us as people, we need to sit down with our children and let them know that it is okay to let us know if anybody touch you, text you, talk to you even funny, it's okay, because it's too often it's happening and it stays behind closed doors. We don't need to have that happening no more. A lot of people, you have it in your family and you don't even know it. And some people have it in their family and they do know it and they turn a blind eye to it. But this should not be the time where we turn in blind eyes to this, because it is destroying people's lives, their future, and everything else. I can't imagine. I just can't imagine that happening. And you living with that trauma and that fear and never selling nobody nothing. It's just sad.
Denzel?
Yeah, I feel bad for him. I feel bad for him. You know, you know, people that go through that when people go through, you know, the SA trauma, it's really sad, and yeah, it will do something to you. It will do something to you mentally, and some people you know, some people they don't know no way out of it. Some people, you know, you know, use substances to to cope, and some people get to an addiction to cope, what they went through from that type of trauma. It is no joke. And parents, they need to um protect their children, because parents, they need to be careful who watch their children, because it is some family members that you can't trust. You just can't trust people, period. You got to be careful who watch your children. And it and you know and they should listen to their children. God forbid if they went through something like that, they need to listen to their children, and protect their children. But I feel bad for him, and I really hope he's getting therapy, because that type of trauma is no joke, and it's sad. And people are evil. You can't trust people. But prayers to him, and I hope everything goes well for him.
Thank you. Tay,
Mhm.
your thoughts?
The cycle is still going, repeat over and over. Because people don't trust nobody. They don't trust their family members. They don't trust their friends. They don't trust their neighbors. They don't trust nobody. Because the SA right there. The history is still repeat over, repeat again. Because they betrayed by somebody who's supposed to protect them from evil people right there. That's all I gotta say, Diva.
Thank you. Julius, your thoughts? Julius, are you there?
Yes, sorry, I was distracted. Um, Matter of fact, I don't have any commentary right now. I'm sorry.
Wayne, your thoughts?
I wish him well. One thing he said that, when he mentioned to his mother that, it was fine now. So I'm glad he sought therapy, and he seemed like he's on the right road to recovery. Got a nice, good looking black woman by his side. That means everything. I'm glad to see him, back trying to get into the movies and stuff like that. So, I wish him well.
Thank you, Wayne. Felicia, your thoughts?
Thank you, Diva. So, we did follow that whole Jonathan Majors piece. And one of the things we talked about was the trauma he went through trying to be protective of Grace, the singer dancer, um, with the drinking problem. And so when he was found guilty and he had to go do the year's therapy, and if I got it correctly, he had to go every week. It was mandatory. But it appears that it was something that really helped him. I'm deeply sorry that he was a pass around, that people abused this child. When I lean back on our first story, as we await the 9-year-old that had been allegedly violated by Mr. Combs, here we have this adult man who is saying that when he was 9, he was abused by men and women. He didn't say his peers. He said adults. He said men and women. And that is just simply horrific. It's often deeply unfortunate that even as we come up on this panel, we have folks in the chat. Many of us do know people who violate. They come under the title of aunt and uncle, mother and father, sister and brother, best friend, teacher, pastor. We say nothing. Collectively, we remain silent. I remember a couple of months ago, I think it was, you did the story about that man that was serially violating the grandmother, the mother, the daughter. The girl went missing or something. It's a terrible story that we did up on this panel. And they all knew about it. They all lived in the same household. And this young girl, I think she was 13 or 14, and he had a garage or something. Do you remember, Diva? He had a garage. And he would take the girls down to the garage. And the grandmother and the mother, everybody knew about it. But we want to turn a blind eye. I don't know why we do. I don't know why we do. But we get brave in a chat and we call people out we don't know, that we know nothing about. But the violator in your household, the one in your neighborhood, the person who has been deemed to be a SAer or a predator or a pedophile, you would never call out. You would be silent. So let's stop being silent about what goes on in our home, in our neighborhoods, and in our families, and make differences there. We got Easter coming up. Are we going to set a plate at the table for the family pedophile SAer? Are we going to do that? Think about it. That's where the change happens.
Come on.
Not going after people you don't know. Thank you.
I appreciate you. Yes, Katrina, your thoughts?
Diva Felicia said it all. I concur with what she said. I mean, you have so many people that knows things that goes on but never comes out and tell it. People grow up with those situations. They deal with it. They put it in the back of their minds and they try to live their life. But therapy helps. Therapy breaks it down. And sometimes when people are SA at that age, that trauma starts, their brain stops at that age because of the trauma and it blocks everything out. So I just wish, anybody in that situation, as what's his name, Denzel say, they turn to substances, they become SA addicts. They deal with things, they vices are not as regular as a person that has not been that way. So the thing is, if that happens to you, don't keep silent. Don't protect the family members. Let people know, so that if that person got kids, that they're your cousins or whosoever won't go through the same thing that you went through. Let people know. Don't let it keep going on. Because once it started in that part of the family, it happens in the other part in the next generation. Because it becomes a what they call it, generation line or whatsoever, and they do what been happened to them. If they're SA'd or abused or whatsoever, they take it out on their children, and then their children take it out on their children. So the best thing to do is report it, tell it, get therapy, do what you have to do to make sure that your mind is set, that your mind is free. And if you know a person in that situation, try to help them. Even if they don't want to help themselves, help that person in that situation because it'll go a long way. That's all I got, Diva.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate you. Yeah, I'm glad he's speaking out about it. And I'm glad he's in therapy. Sometimes things happen for a reason. Because would he have been in this therapy had that not happened? I don't like that it happened. But as a result, he was, mandatory therapy for 52 months. 52 months. That's like insane, right? It's crazy. But and I think he had to go to therapy every day. I don't think it was once a week. I don't know. I have to look back at it, but either way, I'm glad he was able to sort through things and it helped him out. So I'm gonna go ahead and roll into this last story. And the last story is, I think, if you work long enough, you've probably been through some stuff on the job. And, maybe sometimes you were forced to leave said job because they fired you, or maybe you just left on your own because you had enough. And the question really is, should you, if you know where the dead bodies are, should you set the place ablaze, not physically, but with all of your knowledge before you walk out the door? Or should you just walk out the door and say, you know what, I'm going to let bygones be bygones. And, I'm just going to move on to my next, gig, so to speak. Well, we learned, I want to say last week, that, Joy Reid, after 10 years of being on MSNBC, and she felt like she helped build that channel up. And, out of nowhere, they kicked her to the curb. And I did read a story that there was a list. And before they even had the opportunity to tell everybody who was on that list that they was going to let them go, another co-worker kind of found the list. So this whole MSNBC thing was just messy all the way around. But, they're saying that Joy has the skeletons. She knows where the dead bodies are, and she's ready to talk, right? So dumped host Joy Reid set to screen bloody murder over being axed from MSNBC. She knows where the bodies are buried and is getting set to torch the network to the ground. So an unrepentant Joy Reid is set to screen bloody murder and seek vengeance against MSNBC for canceling her show, The Reid Out, and unceremoniously kicking her out the door. RadioOnline.com can reveal. The 56-year-old anchor, who had been with MSNBC for over a decade, is said to be furious over what she sees as backstabbing betrayal from the very network she helped build. And MSNBC insider says she's livid and she knows everything. She's ready to burn the house down. According to sources, Reid signed her own death warrant by holding an internal summit with anchors, including Rachel, Lawrence, and Nicole Wallace, to unite in battle against the network's news strategy to be less left-wing biased. Reid also took to the air to liken President Trump's tactics with fascism. Meanwhile, the liberal television personality has been blasted for her own racially charged rhetoric and saying that Americans were afraid of brown invasion over the border and that Black people would be weird if they didn't vote for Kamala Harris. She also blamed Harris' loss in November on white women who didn't show up for her. There's just Joy. I get it. It's disappointing. It's hurtful. But do you do this? After the election, Reid lost almost half her viewers, and her firing is a major move by network's new president, Rebecca, in an effort to reverse its downward spiral. But Reid refuses to take accountability for her show's failure, declaring, "I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry that I stood up for those things." Now, sources said she's looking to roast those she believes betrayed her. The insider warned MSNBC wants her to sign an NDA, but that's not going to happen. If they think they are going to silence her, they better think again. As I go blazing every this thing go. In my opinion, your thoughts?
So I love Joy Reid. And I feel her fiery side. I feel the hurt that she feels. I feel the pain that she feels. I feel her. I would tell her to be cautious about what she say. Because once you burn that bridge, you better make sure you ain't got to cross it again. A lot of people like to burn the bridge in the moment. And they don't realize that later on they got to go back across that bridge. So I would caution her to make sure that's not a bridge she gonna want to cross again. Now, if she don't want to ever be back on that TV station no more, or any other one, because they could potentially blacklist stuff from every station. So if she don't want to do none of this no more, and this is her hoorah, and she want to burn the house down, I say go for it. But I say if you want to cross that bridge again and be back on TV again, then I caution you to think about it really careful before you burn that bridge. Because once you set it on fire, there ain't no coming back from there.
Thank you. Denzel, your thoughts?
Yeah, I love Joy Reid too, and I feel bad for her. Um, if she wants to tell her truth, she she can do that. She can do that if she don't want to be back on TV. But if she do that and she wants to go back on TV, she needs to think before she do that because they might, you know, because they probably gonna do, they probably, because they got rid of her, and if she, you know, tells her truth, they might try to blackball her. So I mean, I think, and this is just my opinion,
Mhm.
I think she should just let again. I feel bad for her. I feel bad for what they did to her, but I think she should not pay them no mind and just um, let it go. I know it's easy said and done, but I think she needs to let it go and go to another network or do a YouTube channel, and talk about, news. I don't know, but I wish her the best and God bless her. That's it, Diva.
Thank you, Tay Tay.
Hmm.
You may skip me on this one, Diva.
No problem, Julius.
It wasn't a surprise to me when I heard the news of Joy Reid being let go. And I knew ever since she made the y'all weird comment, I said, oh Lord, they gonna come for her.
Mhm.
And what happened? They terminated her. But see, here the thing. This the thing. And I'm gonna get preachy in this Lenten season. And I said this yesterday in my meeting with my college president. I said, let me tell you something. The enemy and his minions is working overtime, and the devil ain't a creature with the pointed eyes, the tail, and everything else. It could be either one of our peers. So I say this again. The devil is working overtime. But like also in scripture it says, yeah, you got to go through the darkness, but joy is coming in the morning. Now, Joy Reid is not done. Yes, this is a minor setback, but she will be back in full force. And when the corporate media loses more views for kissing the ring and for just outright being dull, they gonna realize over the last 10 years, 10-year plus, that they have messed up. But until then, us folks, we are going to continue the independent route. We are going to continue to watching the independent entities because they encourage us to research and to have and for us to make our own sound opinions. Now, I just wanted to give that little TED talk. Joy Reid ain't done. We not sleeping on her. We see that she gonna be back. It's all good in the hood.
Wayne.
I'm kind of mixed on this. I've never had a job, that I've been fired from that I felt the need to go back or get at anybody.
Mhm.
And in my 20s, I used to get fired all the time. I thought about that. I'm like, wow, they let me go. And I started counting all the jobs, and one of the jobs I got fired from, they came to my wedding. So as far as Joy Reid, if she put the time in and helped build that network, and if they maliciously fired her, however she believes, I'll stand with her. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Mm-hmm.
Now, just be able to withstand the backlashes. MSNBC is not the only platform out there. Don Lemon seemed to be doing just fine. So I know you say you shouldn't, with this kind of job she has like that, if they came after her, trying to take her bread, everything, and I'm just going to walk away. Oh no! If I have some power, I can do that. I'm fighting back. I'm fighting back. I'm going to stand 10 toes on me. I might not win. It may not turn out like I want to, but I stood up. I'm done.
Felicia.
Ooh, wait. Now, you know this is a topic for me, babe.
Oh, okay. Oh, let me sit up.
Listen, some of your regular subscribers, the folks on this panel, I have told you all, they have put me out, pushed me out, thrown me out, okay? And guess what? I'm still standing.
Come on now.
Still standing.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Sometimes there's a struggle at work over values, ethics, how people move together, how you feel you contribute or don't contribute, or who should be contributing, or who's the boss, who ain't the boss. What I'm hearing from Joy is that she did the work.
Mm-hmm.
And she doesn't feel she was treated in a way that perhaps represented her contribution.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't there. Sometimes you come back after lunch and the people say, you know what, you got to go to the HR. And the next thing you know, you're going out the door.
Mm-hmm.
There you are.
I'll talk to the people.
They don't really want to know the story, because for me, a job is a job. It doesn't define who I am. It doesn't determine how I'm going to live or not live. Yes, you go through a struggle, perhaps financially, a little bit of a setback. But for a believer, for the righteous, oh, no. God is my strength and my power, and he makes my way perfect. Not my boss, not my office manager. I'm not going in there to disrespect people. I'm not going to go in there and insult people. I go in there to do my job. So, again, I understand it. Well, if you got to go back over that bridge, she don't got to go back over. Blow it up.
Oh, my.
Well, what did Chris Cuomo say when he left? He said he wanted to blow up CNN, didn't he? He was going to burn it down or blow it up. One or the other. He said something like that. And the people said, oh, they're so afraid of Chris. Oh, my God. Everybody at CNN was afraid. Why? Because he took people down with him. He wasn't the only one that had to go. And I think that may be how she's feeling. My hope is that she comes out of her feelings and gets into the facts. And once she gets into the facts, if she has a lawsuit, you go get a good lawyer. If you have the facts and you fell a little short here and there, but they gave you a nice little package, you keep it moving. But you always reflect on where you were and where you want to go. So I don't know where she wants to go. I don't know Joy that well, okay? But she has some options in front of her. But I really believe that she'll have to get out of her feelings first. And how you do that is by getting a good career therapist, somebody to talk to walk you through some of what you were just living. Because sometimes you don't even know what you just been through because it's been so much. So I wish her the best. I'm done.
Whew, thank you, Katrina. Your thoughts? Katrina, are you there?
I'm here, babe. Um, the thing of it is, she want to retaliate on Mad Day. If you got all this information, girl, I would even be blasting and letting people know I got it. I'm like, Felicia, I just go file me a lawsuit. And when I go through my lawsuit, I would lay out all the evidence that I have. I won't even put it out there that I'm planning on blowing up their spot. They won't even know. The only way they would know when they see that judgment or that lawsuit coming into their door. I won't let them know what I got. If she feel like she built up MSNBC, I get it. They got rid of her only because of her skin color. Because Rachel Maddox says some of the same identical things that she says, and she still's there. So I get how she's feeling, but I won't even let them know that they making me sweat. I would just do my lawsuit and keep it moving. I won't even worry about blasting nobody else or doing anything like that. Just get what you deserve and get what you need. Because coming in there on Mad Day and trying to blow up everybody else, it might blow back up in your face. So the best way to do is handle it without nobody knowing, doing what you gotta do, and that's the best revenge when they write you that check. That's all I got, Diva.
Thank you. Well, the Don's in the building. How you doing? Nice to see you. What are your thoughts? Oh, we lost him. I was waiting to hear what he had to say. Listen, it's a tough call, and I get it when you in your feelings about things. Wait, the Don is back. Let's see what he got to say. Hey, the Don.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Zell, what's up, bro? I ain't seen you, man, in a long time. Good to see you up here, man.
You too. You too.
Listen, they're afraid of this black woman. Joy Reid speaks truth to power.
Mm,
And that's what a lot of these cable networks don't want right now. They're afraid of the retaliation of the Trump administration. You look at MSNBC at 12 o'clock, you see Andrea Mitchell. She's fell asleep at the desk several times.
Oh my God.
Literally fell asleep, but she still has a job. This woman came at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every night, Monday through Friday, and spoke truth to power. She was actually a journalist. She didn't go up there. She didn't really speak much opinion. She did her work. She did her research. Her last show, she named over 100 producers and directors on her show because she actually did research. What these people want now, they want entertainment. They want opinion network. So like someone else said, we're gonna have to go somewhere else to find truth, because you're putting a Republican, the ex-head of the Republican National Convention, in her spot. I mean, Simone Sanders will be there, but you're putting a ex-Republican in her spot. So what do you want to hear? They have this new CEO of MSNBC, but he's a long time contributor to the RNC. They don't want any more truth. So we have to go. I think Wayne said Don Lemon is doing this thing on YouTube. And maybe it's time for her to reach other avenues, or maybe she should start contributing to a magazine. But she does know where the bodies are, and some of the bodies may need to be exposed.
Oh my. Well, I appreciate you coming through. Yikes. Okay. Listen, tonight's title was called Choices. Okay. Diddy made some choices. And so now these choices, he's in the Metropolitan Detention Center, and his children are having to come and visit him or see him when he goes to court. And then I guess they're going to hang in there with him when the trial is going about. You got Jonathan Majors telling his truth about what happened to him. I'm glad he spoke his truth, because a lot of times ladies will, eventually come out and tell their truth. A lot of men, they never do. So I'm glad he was able to speak his truth. He was able to let it out, release it, and let other people know I was messed up because this was wrong. It's wrong what happened to me. Males and females violated him. What a disgrace. We got to watch who we have around our kids. We got to constantly talk to our kids. But I'm glad he spoke his truth. And then we got Joy Reid. Some people said set it ablaze, and other people like just hold on tight, move on, and do your next thing. I appreciate y'all for being here with me tonight for Trending Topics Friday. And most likely I will go live tomorrow night, unless I go in and hang out in the streets. But definitely I will be back on Sunday. Listen, good night and goodbye, everybody. And y'all know the routine. If you didn't hit that like button on the way in, hit the like button on the way out. Bye, everybody.
Do not treat the dealers right now. Treat your busy. Thank you.